It was supposed to be a relaxing getaway, a trip to the mountains to disconnect and recharge. The kind of adventure I had been dreaming about for months. But just a few days in, things went sideways. I remember it so clearly. I was on a hiking trail, feeling the cool air, listening to the rustling of the trees. I felt alive. And then, suddenly, I wasn't. One wrong step. I slipped on some loose gravel, and before I knew it, my leg was pinned between a rock and the ground. The pain hit immediately, sharp, brutal, impossible to ignore. I tried to move, but it wasn't happening. I knew something was really wrong. I don't know if you've ever been in that kind of situation, but time slows down in moments like that. You're so aware of every little sound, every passing second. And the first thing that hits you is panic. I was in the middle of nowhere, no one around, just miles of wilderness between me and the nearest road. My phone? Barely any signal. I started thinking about all the horror stories I'd heard about people being stuck with injuries in remote places. The kind of stories that make your stomach churn. But here's the thing, I had something I didn't even realize was going to be a lifesaver. Travel insurance. Before I left, I'd opted into medical evacuation coverage. To be honest, I thought it was just one of those things you pay for and never think about, right? Like, okay, cool, I've got it. Now back to packing. I figured if something small happened, like a minor accident, I'd be fine. But this wasn't minor. I knew I had to get help fast. I'm not going to lie, it felt like hours before someone finally showed up. But when they did, they had the right gear, the right training, and they were able to safely get me down the mountain and into the hands of a medical team. Turns out, my injury wasn't just a sprain. It was a serious fracture that required immediate surgery. Without the proper evacuation and medical care, I could have been looking at months of recovery, or worse. And that's when I realized the real value of the medical evacuation coverage I'd signed up for. It wasn't just some random insurance policy. It was a lifeline. It meant that the moment I needed help, the team on the other side was already making arrangements to get me to the best medical facility. It meant that, despite being far from home, I wasn't really alone. If I hadn't had that coverage, I'm not even sure what I would have done. I could have ended up facing crazy hospital bills, complicated logistics, or even worse outcomes. But instead, I was covered, and that made all the difference. Here's the thing. We always think that won't happen to me. Or we assume that just because we're on vacation, we're somehow invincible. But life doesn't care if you're on a beach or in the mountains. Accidents happen, and they can happen fast. My tip for you? When you're booking your trip, don't skimp on travel insurance. You don't have to get every single extra add-on, but medical evacuation coverage? Trust me, it's worth it. You never know what's around the corner. I'm not here to push some sales pitch. But since that experience, I found a travel insurance company that I genuinely trust. Auras.insure. Honestly, it was a total game changer. They offer this specific coverage that made all the difference when I needed it. It wasn't just about a policy, it was about peace of mind. So yeah, I'm here sharing this because I know how quickly everything can go from perfect vacation to life-altering situation. Don't wait until it's too late to find out how important this stuff really is. If you're going on any trip, big or small, make sure you have the coverage that can truly save you. And hey, I've got the link in the description if you want to check it out. Stay safe out there. You just never know when you might need a little extra help.